What was really fascinating with the presentation was the synergies that they looked for between Abel's Bitcoin presentation and Tesla's selling points. I'm not going to mention the doggy coin. I think it was brought up, but I'm not going to go there. But I'll give an example. So at one point in Abel's presentation, he referred to Jeff Booth's book, The Price of Tomorrow. And one of the key arguments Jeff Booth makes is that technically technology should go down in monetary value as we progress and as we build. And Juan picked up on that and explained that Tesla vehicles have consistently gone down in price since the first models were released. And I guess in a few years, there will be an entry model or a model available to consumers at around 25,000 francs, which I thought was pretty cheap. Shout out to the Orange Manufacturing Group. They helped me with my logo design, and you know that I'll be ordering their premium hardwood sign and lightning keychain. Accessories are curated from a selection of durable traditional materials built to last. Use the Geyser Fund link in the show notes to take advantage of their Trust Minimal process, or to save 5%, go to omg21btc.com. That's omg21btc.com and use code AAB21Q. Hi everyone, welcome to Ask a Bitcoiner 21 Questions. I'm your host, Saida Gomez. This week's episode is slightly different because I've done something slightly different. Instead of asking a guest 21 questions, I would like to share my impressions of my first Bitcoin/business, it was Tesla, cross-promotional event. But in keeping with the spirit of Ask a Bitcoiner 21 questions, I'm setting my timer for 10 minutes. And I hope that I can give you the TLDR in 10 minutes. So timer start. I'm ready and go. So on Friday, this past Friday, I attended a cross-promotional event hosted by Abel Rabarin, who was a guest here on Ask a Bitcoiner 21 Questions. And essentially, he is a wealth manager based in France, and he also works with people in Geneva, Switzerland. And he teamed up with a friend whose name is Juan to give a presentation about Bitcoin at the Tesla store here in Geneva at the Confederation Center. I've been to a lot of different conferences and, of course, a lot of different Bitcoin meetups. And usually the context is Bitcoin or at least crypto or privacy. And I hadn't actually experienced, promoting Bitcoin in a context of a different business. So in this case, Tesla or vehicles, or my bad one, I did pay attention. Tesla is not just a car, it's a technology. But so I thought it was kind of cool. And it was on a Friday evening. Usually Fridays is like time to wind down the week with my husband and my daughter and stuff. But I made the effort to go, and I'm so happy that I did, because it's really opening my perspective to different different ways to incorporate Bitcoin into your business. So traditionally, we look at Bitcoin on the balance sheet, or I had Jimmy from Swiss Bitcoin Pay answer 21 questions, where I got to test out his app and see how merchants can download his app in order to accept Bitcoin payments. But Bitcoin on the promotional side of things, I have to admit that I didn't pay attention to it. And this experience really helped to open my eyes. And so, as I mentioned, it was Abel Rabarin, who's a wealth manager. He gave an overview of Bitcoin targeted towards family offices and individuals. And I think Geneva is an excellent place for that, because we do have a lot of family offices here and individuals who are always looking to store as much value as possible. And the kicker is, so when I got there, I was like, hi, I'm Saida, just went and, introduced myself. And Juan was like, who, by the way, from what I understand, he's the top seller in Switzerland. But he's like, hi, I'm Juan, and I'm also a Bitcoin maximalist. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, he had me at maximalist. But what was really fascinating with the presentation was the synergies that they looked for between Abel's Bitcoin presentation and Tesla's selling points. I'm not going to mention the doggy coin. I think it was brought up, but I'm not going to go there. But I'll give an example. So at one point in Abel's presentation, he referred to Jeff Booth's book, The Price of Tomorrow. And one of the key arguments Jeff Booth makes is that technically technology should go down in monetary value as we progress and as we build. And Juan picked up on that and explained that, which this is something I didn't know at all, that Tesla vehicles have consistently gone down in price since the first models were released. And I guess in a few years, there will be an entry model or a model available to consumers at around 25,000 francs, which I thought was pretty cheap. When I bought my car a while ago, I don't have a Tesla, but when I bought my vehicle a while ago, it was already like double that, and time has gone by. So I thought that was pretty cool. And the other thing, of course, that was mentioned is the fact that Tesla holds Bitcoin on its balance sheet. So from a business perspective, I thought it was really interesting to see them look for ties and synergies in order to please the audience and give the audience, value for their time. The other thing that they proposed as well is that when we attended the event, we had the opportunity to test drive a Tesla that evening, or keep a Tesla for the weekend for 2 days to test drive, and then have our name submitted to a draw in order to possibly get a Tesla to drive around for 3 months. I messaged my husband and I was like, hey, do you want to test drive a Tesla? But, with the car seat and logistics and stuff. At this time, we're not the ideal, demographic for that, because the work that's necessary in order to get it done was just not worth it for us. I took notes here to make sure that I hit on the key points that really stood out for me during the presentation. So I found that Abel gave a really good overview of what Bitcoin is for the attendees. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that usually, in my experience at Bitcoin events, most people in the audience have already fallen down the rabbit hole. Most people have read the Bitcoin Standard or listened to a lot of different podcasts like What Bitcoin Did, etc. And so you can sort of hone in on a specific discipline as it relates to Bitcoin. But in this instance, Abel was presenting to people, some knew very little about Bitcoin. The question was, am I late came up a few times, and the people who asked the question were assured that no, we're still very early. But finding the tone where the jargon is not too technical, where the jargon, and it's not too watered down or simplified either, and forming the argument, in this case, because he was speaking to an audience of wealth managers, of course, you want to hone in on the store of value aspect of Bitcoin. And I think he did a really good job with that. There were men and women in the audience, so it wasn't an event that was for men only. And one thing that I thought was also very engaging is that throughout his presentation, he asked a lot of questions. And one question was, how many people have family who live in another country? We all put up our hands, and that reflects Geneva, but it also reflects, I suppose, a selling point of Bitcoin that perhaps wealthy people don't necessarily consider, because they're thinking of storing their wealth, their value. And so, of course, Abel explained how easy it is to send money across borders without paying fees for Western Union or other currency exchanges. Okay, I've got about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to try my best to wrap it up some more. So what else do I need to say about this? I think I've said everything. Awesome. I hit up the key points. So since I've done that and I've got 2 minutes and 23 seconds left to go, I will say that the intersection of Bitcoin and business is something that I think is really fascinating. And I think it's something that will definitely take off with time. And so far, we've seen obviously treasury services. So whether you are a small to mid-sized business, larger businesses have a bunch of regulations, or publicly traded businesses have regulations that they need to juggle. So it's a little different for you guys. But you could be a family office, small to mid-sized business. You're just family. If you're the CFO of your household, having Bitcoin on your treasury, your balance sheet, your savings is like a really good play. If you are a merchant, learning how to accept Bitcoin payments or using Bitcoin technology like with Swiss Bitcoin Pay in order to accept Bitcoin payments is super helpful. And now there's this other realm, which is the cross-promotional realm, which I think is really cool and definitely worth exploring. I like makeup, I like jewelry, I like fashion, but I'm not wasting my money on this stuff. And so I think it would be really cool if there were to be like even a small shop that sells clothing. If they were to do something very similar to this, have a Bitcoin presentation for their clientele, maybe it's women, how Bitcoin can help you in your life, and then also, promote the products or promote certain, I guess, sustainable fashion that, doesn't force you to buy something new every season or every few months. I don't know. Just an idea that I'm putting out there, but I think that this is a really exciting domain, and I look forward to participating in how this will play out in the future. Thank you so much for listening to me today. We'll be back again with more Ask a Bitcoiner 21 questions, and don't forget to follow me on YouTube, which is YouTube /at Ask a Bitcoiner 21 questions. You can follow me on X. I post there a lot, which is at Ask a Bitcoiner 21. And listen to me, like, comment, subscribe, do all of those fantastic things. And that's time.